Hi, grade one. I am super excited to tell you about this project. In grade one, we learn about living things. We learn about animals as living things, and we learn about plants as living things. And you'll be seeing Mrs. Packard and Mrs. Gorick and Mrs. Proby share some things about animals and plants. And I want to talk to you today about animal research. Now, we've done this lots of different ways in grade one, but a super cool way is doing a written research project. And I've always had my students get really excited about this because it feels like a big kid project, like something you would see somebody in grade 4 or 5 do, or maybe you've seen an older brother or sister do some research before. And you are such smart students that I'm excited to see what your research is going to look like. Now, what is so fun about this is that you get to pick any animal you want. Has to be a real animal, so not something pretend, not something from a movie or a game. It needs to be a real animal. Zoo animal, desert animal, a dog, a cat, like a pet type animal. It could be a desert animal. There are so many options. But once you've chosen that animal, you need to start finding out some real information to put into your research. Now, there's some different options that I'm going to link, and then you can either just put it on a big plain piece of paper in a different way that you want to, making a poster. You could print off one of these examples I'm about to show you and put your research into that. You could do 2 or 3 different animals, choosing to show your research in different ways. Now, this will make more sense once I start to show you the different samples that you can do. But here is one example. Now, this one's just empty, but I am then going to also make my own sample of this so you can see the type of work that we are expecting to see, okay? So this just says at the top, my animal research. And this is just one page of research. Now, whatever animal you choose, let's say I really like whales. So I'm going to choose an orca whale, or some people call it the killer whale. Now, that would be some facts. I really need to go find out why they call it that, okay? And in here, I would draw my very best detailed picture of that. Now, I always talk about how we sketch first. That means we start with a pencil, we do our best realistic drawing. I might want to look at one in a book or online, and then put those best details in and do the coloring that matches that very realistically. Okay, knowing that an orca whale is black and white, I'm not going to need a ton of colors. And then what am I going to maybe put in the background to show that it's swimming? Okay, so some water. Here it says what I look like. Now, here's your animal. Maybe here you're just going to write orca and decorate that really cool. And then here's where you're doing that drawing that I talk about. What do I look like? Now, great researchers, great writers also do labeling. What are some interesting things that you could then label in your picture? Does it have a dorsal fin? Does it have a blowhole? Where does it breathe? What kind of teeth or no teeth does it have? What types of things could you label in your picture? Here, if you're just going to write the name of your animal, maybe you want to do it in bubble letters or something super interesting. So when we look at this, it's like, wow, that has detail. That's a lot of effort, okay? Where that animal lives. So what's its habitat? Does it live in the ocean? Does it live in the desert? Would you find it in a home? If it's a puppy, most of those are, we say the word domesticated. That means that they live in homes. They need somebody to help take care of it. That would be most of your pets. Hamsters, gerbils, cats, dogs, okay? Now, what I eat. Killer whale doesn't just eat one thing, so I might draw 3 or 4 or 5 things that I find out in my research. I'm going to draw them and label them, okay? Then fact 1, fact 2, fact 3. What are 3 super interesting facts that you're going to find out about your chosen animal? I would look for my 3 facts about my killer orca whale, and I would put those in there. Something that somebody's going to read and go, whoa, I had no idea that animal did that, or that's where they lived, or how they had their babies, or whatever it might be. But what are 3 super cool facts? So this is one of your options for animal research, okay? Now remember, if this is like totally something that just gets you excited, do more than one animal. We'd love to see that research. That's all good reading, writing, drawing, awesome practice for all kinds of different learning skills. Another option is now kind of more report style. Okay, now there's this one right here that says My Animal Report written by. So your name goes down here. Here's where you would do an amazing, and Mrs. Packard says big, bold, and beautiful. So bright colors, sketched with your pencil first. How are you going to fill this space so it's not one tiny little animal there? Make it big and awesome using your detail in the border. Your best coloring, okay? Not something scribbled. We want to see effort, okay? Next page of this report. Now this page, you do have an option to either leave it out or leave it in. This is one page that I would say you could either take it out and don't do it or leave it in. It says group. Now here is where, like, if you chose, let's say a gorilla, is it a mammal? So if it's a mammal, that would be its grouping. And then how do you know it's a mammal? What makes it a mammal? Does it have fur? Does it feed its babies? Those types of things. If you find that page too difficult, you are fine to leave that one out, okay? Habitat, this is all pretty self-explanatory. Where does it live? What does its home look like? Its babies. What did you learn about that animal having babies? When are they born? Where do they have them? How do they keep them protected? Drawing a picture of that. What food does it eat? Show me a picture of that. Adaptations. This is a really big, important word. Adaptations are different features your animal has to help it survive out in the wild. So like a porcupine has quills. And that is an adaptation. And what does the porcupine do with those quills to keep it safe, to keep its predators away? Okay, so that's what adaptations are, and all animals have different adaptations. Okay, humans have adaptations too. Then draw a picture and label those adaptations. Here is where you're going to draw your animal and label it. So a really awesome, big, detailed, realistic drawing. That's where you want to be looking at a picture of that animal and make sure, okay? And then any awesome fun facts. You could do this point form, like one fun fact per sentence. And here could be a photo album. So if you want to do cutout magazine pictures of your animal, if you print some off your computer and you want to put them on there, maybe you want to draw a whole bunch of different types of that animal. Like if you chose a bear, then maybe here you want to do polar bears, black bears, brown bears, panda, even though they're not really a bear. Okay, so that's one other way. I like that one. But I also like this one. Okay, now this is like super, super reporty. This is pretty cool here. So whatever animal you choose now, all about, write the animal there, draw your picture, decorate as beautiful as you can. Table of contents. This is like now you're almost writing a book. Okay, now here's where you're going to put the page numbers of your report and the title of each page. So if you do appearance first, you would write appearance, page 1. And then you would write a 1 up here or down below, however you want to number your pages all in the same spot. And then you're going to then also put in your table of contents the habitat, where they live, pictures and writing. The food they eat, pictures and writing. Their predators. Who do they need to stay safe from? What are the bigger animals that they would have to protect themselves from? Okay. Babies, again. When or how do they have their babies? Where do they lay their babies? How do they take care of their babies? Adaptations, what are the special features they have to help them stay safe? Different kinds of that type of animal. So if you did a rabbit, there's more than one types of rabbit there, and you could do your research and find out about those different types. Same thing with bears, same thing with whales, birds, spiders. Oh my goodness, there are endless possibilities. And then meet the author. This is where you actually write about yourself. You could draw a picture of yourself, you could put a photo of yourself in there, and then tell us all about you. Hi, my name is Ms. Craddock. I live in Lethbridge, Alberta, where I love to research animals and teach my students. In my spare time, I hang out with my family, and I like to go on bike rides and swimming and visit Waterton and go spend time outdoors. This is where you would talk all about you. Now, If you did that report, oh my goodness, how cool would that be? Staple it together, people could read it. That's like you're creating a book. Now, lots of different options, and I've talked quite a bit there, but I do have one more thing I want to say. When you do this report, you have to think, because we do want to see them, that you are getting a grade. Now, just like on your report cards, there are a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. What would you need to do to get yourself up here, which is where we want to see students working towards? 3s and 4s, okay? That doesn't mean that these are not good marks. It just means that by this point in grade 1, we want to be pushing ourselves to be doing our very best. That means to get a 4, and this is a rubric that we have right here, and a rubric means a little bit of a breakdown of what makes a 4? How would we get a 4? Now this says a 4 would be that you've got complete sentences and more than one. Like almost 3, 4, 5 sentences that are complete. That means capitals, periods. Is it neat handprinting? Can we read it? Have you paid attention to the sizing and how you would print them on the lines properly? Are you using your periods and exclamation marks? Putting capital letters, lots of detailed work, and those sight words that we use a lot, are you paying attention and spelling them properly? If you're doing all of those things and we're like, wow, look at the effort there, that's a 4, okay? Now, there might be sections of your research where we say that's a 4, and there might be other sections where we say, yeah, not bad, maybe that section's a 3. It could be a mix of the marks. A 3 would be 3 to 4 complete sentences, some punctuation in capital letters, most good details, and fairly neat handwriting, okay? A 2 is not as much information, maybe only 1 or 2 sentences, a few details about your animal, and you're missing some of the punctuation, but sometimes we do see your periods, okay? And a 1 would be not very complete. We're not seeing your capitals and periods as often as we need to. It's not very detailed, and we can hardly read it, and we're not seeing those pictures as detailed as we'd like to see. Now, I know that we've got hard workers and that you're going to be doing your best to be working towards up here, and I can't wait to see that, okay? So, and your teachers are all excited to see that hard work on your research. I can't wait. I know I want to work really hard on this, and I'm going to go and do one of these. I'm going to share that in another video where I also do some reading out of this giant book called Out of Sight. And you go and pick the animal you want to research. See you soon.